Hey guys, it's Krishanti with Krishanti.com talking about psychic development and spiritual and personal growth. And I've been channeling for a couple of years now a group of beings called the Ascended Masters, as well as angels, and it's been really fascinating. I document everything that comes through just for myself. Sometimes I ask about other people and bigger concepts as well. I've done a few videos about that. But what I wanted to share with you was something very fascinating that came through actually from an angel the other day. Now, what is interesting, and I've made some videos about this, what is interesting about angels is that when you focus on them and you intend to connect with them, when you ask them to show you that they're here, to give you signs, to give you reassurance, to talk to you, to protect you, to be here with you, they really do show up and they really do come through. It is not a fairy tale. It is not a false thing. Like, angels are very, very real. And I love that, don't you? It's so interesting. And because of this work that I do, I've tested it and I've asked for the signs, and they've come through in healings for people. They've come through in my everyday life. They're all around. And I've sort of had some fleeting thoughts about how that is so possible for them. Like, how is it so easy for angels to show up? But that's all they were, really, just like fleeting thoughts. Now, when I sat down to channel a few days ago, what happens is I talk to my main guide, who's like my guy, and I love him. I realized he's been with me for this is a subject for another video, but been with me for quite a while. He has this sort of blue color, blue energy, and it's a beautiful blue. And so I talked to him and asked my questions and stuff. And then what I've been practicing is surrendering and letting whatever come through. And it's always very interesting and fun. And this time he brought the Archangel Uriel, who I've seen here and there in other, circumstances in my life. The Archangel Uriel has come through before, but not as often as like my other ones that I love, like Raphael and Michael and Gabriel. They come through a lot, but Uriel has been around. But I was surprised when Uriel came through, and I listened, and it was a beautiful, beautiful message just for me that I don't need to share. But what I wanted to share with, and I also want to get your input on this if you're good at physics and that kind of thing, because I am not. Here's the part that I wanted to read to you that was so cool. So she said, "We angels are one, and yet you identify us as different beings, patterns of energy. And yet we are one and the same. You seek to individuate that you may more easily understand. You create us as individual manifestations of energy, and yet we are one. Manifold." Which, by the way, I think that's really interesting, because I was just talking about how I communicated with these other angels, and then Uriel, and then here's Uriel saying, like, this is how your consciousness does it, and yet we're all one and the same. And then that word manifold, if you're channeling, and here's a clue to know that it's not your rational mind. You'll get words that you don't know the explanation of, that make sense in the flow, the transmission, and then you have to Google the words and all of that. So that's what I did. I'm like, I think I know manifold, but let me look it up. And let me just read you, let me legitimately show you the way it was all. You could pretend you're here with me and I just did my channeling session. Hold on. So I'm Googling manifold. So this is what I do. What's manifold? Hold on. Oh man, now the internet's going. Okay, let's see. All right. Manifold. Manifold. Adjective. Many and various. Many, numerous, multiple, multifarious, legions of angels, diverse, various, several, varied, blah, 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 blah. Okay, that made sense. Yeah, I get manifold. But then over here, I can even show you, well, yeah, I have wire here, but can you see? Okay, look at this. I don't know if you can even see it, but look at that thing. Look. Wow. Okay, what's that? Manifold. In mathematics, a manifold is a topological space that locally resembles Euclidean space near each point. More precisely, each point of an n-dimensional manifold has a neighborhood that is homeomorphic to the Euclidean space of dimension n. I'm like, what? So here then I, open up manifold in Wikipedia. It's crazy. And they're talking about dimensions and planes and spheres and the torus and something about the Klein bottle and real projective plane, which will always self-intersect when immersed in three-dimensional real space, which is what we're in. And then you get it, right? Isn't that so interesting? And then I thought, well, let me just click and just figure out what is Euclidean space. And let me just see how I can read this the fastest way. Okay, basically, in geometry, Euclidean space encompasses the two-dimensional Euclidean plane, the three-dimensional space of Euclidean geometry, and certain other spaces, blah, 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 blah. Euclidean spaces also generalize to higher dimensions. And then going back to manifold, it's a topological space. Again, each point of an n-dimensional manifold has a neighborhood that is homeomorphic to the Euclidean space of dimension n. And so I'm not going to keep trying to figure this out because it baffles me. Again, if you have knowledge of this and you can explain it better, by all means put it in the comments below. But what I thought was so cool was that word manifold kind of insinuating how these different dimensions can kind of cross over, and then how an angel could materialize or appear here in this three-dimensional space that we're in. That's what my little art history brain, because that's what I majored in and was really good at, not the mathematical stuff, but that's what my little art history brain figured out. So I just think that's cool. I want to know what you guys think and if you kind of get the gist of it. I love that though, because it does speak to a reality of different dimensions, which we all kind of know, sort of, what's that word? We get the concept, but what he was saying was almost like it's not really a theory or a concept. It's a reality. And I think the more that we progress and we learn about different dimensions and who lives in these dimensions and physics and everything, we'll be really fascinated. So that's all I wanted to share. I just wanted to also basically talk about this because I feel like, and I think I've said this before, I feel like the more we share about these experiences and the more we talk about it, the more we bring it up, the more kind of an energy will generate. Not only in so doing, not only will that help bring that more into the forefront of our consciousness and make it even more of a reality, but it'll also give those of us who are holding back permission to continue to seek and to have hope and to continue to look for these things that keep us going. Because I know in my darkest hours and those of my clients and people I work with, angels have been the one guiding light that helps keep us going and get us through these times. So if we kind of collectively generate this energy of belief, we can continue or bring them closer. And we also have to think about resonance, and if we're all resonating at this higher frequency, it's like the people around us or in our field of awareness will be affected positively as well. So if we're focusing on angels and we have hope when everything's hopeless, it might save someone's life, or it might just help everyone just keep on going. And ultimately kind of raise the vibration of the planet, or just bring in more light and help have that light sort of vanquish and vanquish the darkness that's all around, and all the fear and all that. You know, it's things can be really scary, and it's good to know that there are other dimensions and planes with angels and high level beings who are here to help, and they really are. It's not a fairy tale, it's a real deal. So that's that for today. And if you're looking for meditations and cool stuff, workshops and whatnot, I have all that at krishanti.com. That's my website. And once again, if you know anything about physics and can explain all this in layman's terms, it would be much appreciated. So you can put it in the comments below. And that's all for this video. I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.